What's going on, everyone? Robert from the Remote Control here, and man, was that a start to The Walking Dead Season 8, the 100th episode. So this really is just going to be me talking about the episode a little bit here. Like I said, we want to get into doing some more YouTube-centric things and videos, reaction videos, stuff like that for our podcast and everything. So make sure you subscribe to us, if you haven't yet, to hear everything that we have to say. When it comes to The Walking Dead, I think I'm going to do just this episode here, and then probably for the mid-season finale, and then for the finale of the season. I'm not going to make this a weekly thing unless there's an outrage, or not outrage, but outcry, or whatever you want to call it, for more of me talking about The Walking Dead, which I'm sure there won't be, because I'm sure a lot of people are not going to like what I have to say most of the time. With that said, please subscribe to us on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, anything that you can find podcasts. We do have a weekly podcast where we talk all things entertainment, TV, movie, news, just a whole bunch of geek stuff, that kind of thing. We also have a weekly Star Wars podcast. We talk all things Star Wars, obviously, and obviously leading up to the big release of The Last Jedi. Check us out, because we got a lot to say about it, and there's a lot of news always coming out. But getting on to this episode of The Walking Dead, I've had a love-hate relationship with The Walking Dead for the past 8 years. I feel the first 2 seasons were phenomenal. Third season, fourth season, and even the 5th season kind of fell off a good bit for me. The moment where it almost lost me for good was when Glenn did not die when he fell into that horde of zombies at the dumpster. That was almost the moment that the show lost me for good. I stuck with it only because I heard Negan was coming into the show and wanted to check out Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who I think is an excellent actor. So, with that said, this season started off, it's the 100th episode. They've been on for 100 episodes, which is crazy to think. I remember it starting, 8 years ago, and I was all excited about it and everything like that. I didn't think it would ever get to 100 episodes, but it did, so that's pretty awesome. With all of that, the episode, let's get to that. The episode, I feel, started off really well. I like the jumping around. We're not exactly sure what Rick is doing in the beginning. I mean, we see him with his eyes real red, and it looks like he's crying and in a lot of pain, emotionally. And then we also see the flash forwards, we're guessing, of Old Man Rick with Michonne and, Judith and Carl, and they're just having, we see this throughout the episode, obviously not right in the beginning, but, that whole thing there is very curious, because it makes me believe in some of the scenes that we saw where it looks like Rick is in pain emotionally and everything. It looks like he is actually thinking that that's what life could be, and not exactly what we are going to see. I think that there's going to be a lot of reveals. Obviously, there's going to be reveals. That's what The Walking Dead does. They love to reveal things on a regular basis, and slowly. And I'm okay with that. So I like those aspects of it. I like the jumping around a little bit, where they're, getting the troops in order, rallying them up, getting them excited and on board with what they're about to do. It moves slow in the beginning, and that's fine. With any start to a season, you have to establish where you're at. You have to establish a lot of things in the beginning of a season, especially with the first episode. It took about 35 minutes, 40 minutes until we actually started to see some action. Now, let's get to that. When they go and they're at the Savior's base, and they're standing there, and Rick's talking to them, and Gregory then comes out, and that was just a great scene where, Gregory's like, the hilltop stands with Negan, hilltop stands with Negan are the Saviors. Jesus was the only person that could have said, no, the hilltop stands with Maggie. Maggie wasn't going to say anything like that. Rick isn't going to say anything like that. Jesus was the only person that could have said that, and I think it worked out perfectly, especially because we saw some of the people from the hilltop standing there and all contemplating, like, what do we do? What do we do? And it's very important to know that they know that Gregory is not a leader. He's never been a leader. He's just a big chicken shit who wants to save his own ass. So they know that, well, if we side with Gregory and go with Negan, we'll probably stay alive. If we're here, we may not stay alive, but if we stay with them, how's our life going to be? So that's the whole thing. That's and they showed the conflict that they were thinking, and they're trying to figure that out. And it was Jesus who said, no, the hilltop stands with Maggie, which, again, phenomenal. Thought it was great. The whole scene, they then push Gregory down the stairs and everything happens with that. Look, I want Maggie to kill Gregory in some form or fashion. I thought that was going to be the end of Gregory there, just because once he was thrown down the stairs and all the shit exploded and everything went from there. So it's a little shocking that, he got away, but not exactly shocking. I shouldn't say shocking, that's probably a bad way to put it. I think it was just a little unfortunate that he gets away as he does, especially screwing over Father Gabriel, because he was trying to help him. But again, Gregory's just a big pussy and just wants to get away from things and save his own ass, as he's always done, so that kind of makes sense. Moving on with Rick, badass Rick. I mean, he's savage as fuck right now. Think about it. I mean, he went from basically just like, okay, I'll do whatever you want, Negan, at the beginning of last season to the beginning of this season, where he's saying, fuck you, Negan, you're dying, you're dead. Like, that's it. That's all there is to it. Like, there's no saving you. Anybody who's with you, come on, we'll forgive you. But screw you, Negan, you're dead. And I love that about him. And I love this Rick. I think this is the best Rick that we've had. And we haven't seen this kind of Rick since like season 2, season 3-ish kind of. So I like seeing this Rick. What else? Carl, that whole thing in the beginning with Carl, which I love. I was following Twitter the entire episode, and I caught it right away. The similarities between Carl pulling up to the gas station, getting out, and checking under the car, exactly mirrored, or not even mirrored, it was exactly like the very first episode, episode 1, where Rick comes out, drives up in the police car, gets out, looks under the car and everything like that. I thought that was phenomenal, and I was really surprised. It probably shouldn't be, but I was really surprised that a lot of people on Twitter picked up on that as quick as they did, because they were quick to call it like that, and excellent for them. And I mean, it's good to see that there's a fan base that pays attention, not just to what's going on at this moment, but what has come over the past 8 seasons, and that says a lot about its fan base. So, good job for The Walking Dead and its fans. Again, with Carl, I don't really know what they're trying to do with him right now, because it looked like there's a moment where Michonne's talking to him after everybody leaves to go attack the Saviors, and there's a moment where Michonne's like, this is your place now, and you can tell she's talking him up, like, look, you're going to be the leader eventually. Rick isn't going to be around forever, and she said that in a way without actually saying that. So then, he's vastly different than Rick is. Like Rick at that moment at the gas station, Carl's trying to talk to the guy, figure out who he is, what he needs, and Rick just scares him away, shooting above his head. Carl was kind of upset with that, so we're going to see some turmoil between the two of them this season. Maybe, I'm not really sure. I know eventually Carl's going to be a leader of some sort. He kind of already is, as Michonne alluded to in this episode. So it'll be interesting to see where they take that whole aspect of it. Michonne, all the people staying back at Alexandria, I mean, it had to happen. There was, they were beaten, they were injured, that kind of stuff. They had to stay there. Plus, you have to have people back to help protect your home base, just in case there's an attack on them. So, thumbs up to that. Daryl. And this is where I'm probably going to lose everybody. Everybody's going to shut me off right now, and sorry, just try to stick through this here, okay? Look, I get it. Daryl's a fan favorite. He is. I've been calling for him to be killed off for the last 3 seasons. I think that would be one way to truly make it feel like there are stakes in this show, because there still really doesn't feel to be any stakes. It goes all the way back to the last really impactful death I think happened was Lori, and that was season 3. Since then, a lot of the deaths just didn't feel that important. Yeah, Herschel dying sucked, but I saw it coming. Like, I want to see a death that we just don't see coming at all, and killing off somebody like Daryl, I've always said, would do that. Now, to that, this season, Daryl is just being the badass that he is. They always make him a badass, and I get that. That's what he is, that's who he is, that's how he is on the show. However, that gun that he was using, and I don't know the different types of guns there are in the world, so I apologize, but come on, man, did you see that thing? There's no possible way that anybody could hold that gun in their hand, straight out, shoot it accurately, as well as not break their damn wrist. I get it, you're trying to make Daryl look cool, but make it a little more realistic. It's a TV show, I get it. You're trying to have fun, you're trying to make him look cool, but god damn, that gun would have broken his damn wrist. He would not have made all of those shots so perfectly every single time either. Again, I get it. It's Daryl. They want to make him look cool. I've said that already. But I'm going to move on from there because I know I probably lost some people watching this at this point. Besides that, I honestly, I don't know. I mean, this episode was good. It started off well. I'm not a big fan of how it ended. Negan should have been hit by one of those fucking bullets. I'm sorry. Rick was shooting like crazy at him. My 8-year-old son can shoot an airsoft gun more accurate than Rick can shoot an M4. That just baffles me. Like, again, TV show trying to add suspense. I get it. It's just, I feel that was a little miss there. Even if he just got grazed or something like that, would have added a little bit more to that scene and would have been, okay, maybe Rick isn't such a screw up with a weapon that, he's been firing for the last 7 years. But again, that's besides the point. But Negan, being in that trailer, finding or where Gabriel goes into, very interesting to find out what's going to happen there. Obviously, they're going to take him prisoner. Gabriel was not as strong as Daryl was. Is he going to become, and become Negan? Is that how he's going to do? Or is he going to be killed off? And I think that's another bit important aspect of this episode. We didn't see anybody die, which is shocking. I mean, it's episode 100. They should have had a major death in episode 100. Maybe it's just too obvious, but if you really think about it, I mean, it's The Walking Dead. People should be dying, and on a big pivotal episode where you're going to get millions of viewers, you could have just ramped it up 10, or turned it up to 11 and just truly just, killed somebody off. I mean, who, I don't know, you pick. You tell me who you think should have been killed off this episode. Could have been Father Gabriel? Maybe. Gregory would have been fine. I mean, he's not a major character, but at least to see somebody die, again, this show sometimes gets too stuck on just constantly talking or telling a story, and that's fine. It's a TV show. You need story, but sometimes if people just want to see other people die, like that's what the point of the show is, to watch people die. Whether you agree with me or not, that's kind of what it's for. So, yeah, I don't know. But with that, I mean, I don't really have much more to say regarding this episode, I don't think. I'm sure on our podcast this week I'm going to talk a good bit more about it, so definitely check out the podcast. Again, it's on iTunes, Podbean, what have you. One more thing I want to say is definitely listen to our podcast and definitely subscribe, because we are currently having a giveaway where we're giving away a Superman pop figure from the upcoming Justice League movie. All you need to do is subscribe and review to one of our, or subscribe and review on one of our areas, which is Podbean or iTunes, to have a chance to win that pop figure. And that's going up until November 12th, so please do that as soon as you can, and we're going to announce it that week, who wins that, and we'll send it out to you as soon as we announce the name. With that said, I've been Robert from the Remote Control. I hope you enjoyed this Walking Dead episode 1 of season 8 premiere, 100th episode, just a little bit of a talk. Yeah, thanks a lot. Talk to you later.